Well, howdy. Welcome back to RC Resto Mod. Today we're going to do something that I haven't seen done before. And what we have here is a traditional Salvas Mudboss compared to the new Traxxas Modified. My traditional Mudboss here, it's kind of looking a little beat up because it has been raced the better part of a season, but the body's holding up really well. I haven't really had any major issues, just steering bell cranks and a couple of things like that. The Traxxas Mudboss, or the Traxxas Modified on the left, is actually owned by my friend John King, who got it from my friend Stephen Elliott, who got it from my friend John Sewell, who got it from Traxxas. So that thing has been around the block a little bit already. It has been raced either 1 or 2 race nights, and I think it may have a win under its belt, which is something that mine can't say. But we're going to kind of just talk about the differences between them, and I'll give you my hot take. It doesn't really, my opinion doesn't matter for a whole lot, but just I'm going to share it anyway because this is my channel and I can do that. All right, to begin with, the wheelbase is exactly the same width and length. The Traxxas Modified does come with a new tire, where the traditional Salvas Mudbosses we've had to run on factory slash tires. This is the Kumo that I choose to run, where these have a tire that more resembles the real racing cars, and I do think they look cool. And the rims, on the traditional cars, we've had a tendency to hide them under these racing dots that you buy off eBay to get a more authentic look, where this one just comes with wheels that look like what modified racers use. If we compare the cars, we're just going to set them nose to nose here. When you set them nose to nose, you see that the Traxxas car has, it's a little longer, a little lower, a lot sleeker looking. It's got a hard plastic spoiler built into the back, so the body ought to be super rigid, and the body's, I'm not going to go through and count the pieces, but it's molded into one large piece. Like, this is all one piece, where on mine there's little screws all along the way. So the back panel that goes across is one piece, the roof and A pillars are another piece, the B pillars and the side are another piece, the nose is another piece, and it's all held together with little nylon screws. On the front, my nose piece is held in place by jamming it between the shocks, and then it has a bandit bumper mounted upside down in the front to kind of support there. A lot of guys put Velcro or something. I haven't done that. I just let it flap in the breeze. Where this one has a pretty nice bumper system, and the body presses all the way down in it. It does have the new, it's got a clipless body mount system, so no body pins to have to fight with. In a lot of ways, this is a much more sophisticated car. One thing that you can't get around for just cool factor is the driver that Traxxas put in theirs. It looks pretty sharp. Give me just a moment and I'll pull the bodies off and show you the difference in the chassis. The first thing you notice right off the bat is that the traditional Mudboss is a high center of gravity chassis. So your battery, your ESC, everything is way up here, where on the new Traxxas Modified, it's much closer to the ground. We've been limited with these traditional Mudbosses, and I know that there are places that allowed LCG chassis and aftermarket shocks and all that, but your base Mudboss, the kind of class that you can run anywhere in the country that you go, is going to look a lot like this car here. Factory two-wheel drive slash shocks. You are allowed to cut some of the coils off to get it down a little bit, and you're allowed to change the oil inside them, but it's the same shock you have on the cheapest slash you can buy. We did allow BL2S's, and I made that change because my 12 turn was starting to give up a little bit of power. I thought I needed to replace it, but I went ahead and did the BL2S because it wasn't very much more. Now this one comes with the BL2S in it. It comes with a heavier duty shock that's adjustable just by turning the collars. It also comes with, gosh, it's going to be tough to get the camera where you can see it, but all the steering componentry, the A-arms front and rear, the rear drive shafts, all that is the new heavy duty stuff, which is illegal on this car. As much as it pains me to say so, this is a better race car. It comes with parts that are cheats on this one. And this is a nicer car. It's easier to maintain. I did get a chance to drive them the other night, and on a really dusty track, we hadn't blown the track off and prepped it really. It was just kind of a practice night. And this car did outperform this one, but I think it's because of these tires. I think they're better in a really loose dirt condition. This tire is so much better that this car outperformed this one. But other than that, they're going to be basically the same, except that this car came with everything, so it's less expensive and it's a better car, which means as an entry-level class, this is the better deal. And now my hot take on it, which, like I say, it doesn't matter, I'm nobody, but this car represents a dastardly deed by a company that I don't, there's a lot of things they do business wise that I don't particularly care for, and this may be the worst. The Salvas brothers came up with this idea. They built it. They figured out a way to turn an inexpensive short course truck that's pretty reliable and decent into an oval track staple. The bodies that they came up with, it resembled the modifieds you see up in the Northeast and in the far eastern part of the country. Traxxas just came and made something cooler, cheaper, better, after reportedly kind of giving the Salvas brothers a cold shoulder when they talked to them about doing a collaborative thing to make a ready-to-run slash. Traxxas just did it on their own and cut these guys out. And supposedly that's the reason that this car was originally called a Mudboss and is now called a Modified. But basically my prediction is that these cars are going away, just because it ends up costing more to build one of these than it does to just buy one of these. And there's no performance advantage to buying a two-wheel drive slash and converting it versus just buying a modified. And eventually I'll probably own one when this class starts to dwindle, as I anticipate it will. I probably won't replace it, and I'll just have another slash-based shelf queen to sit up on the shelf somewhere. Guys, I've said some pretty ugly things about Traxxas, and just this last weekend I got to visit their world headquarters there in McKinney, Texas. Is McKinney? Yeah. Anyway, it's in the Metroplex. It's hard to keep track of which city you're in, because Dallas and Fort Worth are the two biggest of like probably 30 cities that are all joined up to form what we call the Metroplex. But anyway, God, it's beautiful. It's huge. They have tons of engineers. I don't know what all they do there, whether it's just warehousing or whether they have some light manufacturing there or whatever. They've got all the parts for everything. They've got knowledgeable people working there in the retail shop, which is surprisingly small, but well stocked. Anyway, there's been some discussion about, like, when the TRX 4M, the smaller version of their crawler, came out in 18th scale, people were making some really cool things for them and like 3D printing them and selling them on Etsy. And the reports were that Traxxas's lawyers kind of went after them about like Disney does. Cease and desist orders flying around all over the place. Then if you wanted parts for your TRX 4M, you had to put in popular 1/18th crawler, was the phrase that the lawyers would let slide. They wouldn't let you say, hey, it fits your TRX 4M, but you could say it fits a popular 1/18th scale crawler. So to be like that, and then, like I say, this is all just hearsay. The other hearsay going around was that the Salvas brothers, you know, they call up Traxxas and say, hey, we think we'd like to work with you where we'll sell a body and you can sell a slash without a body, and we'll just, you know, kind of get all the parts in one basket so that people can come in, make one payment, and have a car that they can put together at the house and go dirt oval racing. And supposedly the response they got was that we don't think there's enough market for it, so y'all have a nice day. And then they came out with the car and called it the Mudboss. Seemed like a really crappy thing to do. Now I personally own 10 Traxxas cars. My very first one, and I think this is what I'm gonna guess the majority of the people in the hobby, their first hobby grade RC was probably a Traxxas. Rustlers, Stampedes, Bandits, Slashes, both 2 and 4-wheel drive, are probably, God, if somebody was wanting to get into the hobby just to bash around in their front yard, that's probably still what I'd recommend. And like living in San Angelo, I'd recommend it because you can go to Three Rivers Marine and get parts. If you buy another brand, you might get a slightly better car, but you're gonna have to wait at least a week to get parts to fix it if you break it. So Traxxas isn't going away. They're awesome at marketing. I just wish they were a little nicer to the other people in the hobby to grow the hobby as a whole. I kind of think that you know, a rising tide lifts all ships. But I also get that they want to protect their trademarks and stuff. It's just a mess, but I really, like I say, I really kind of feel like they did the Salvas brothers really dirty in this instance, especially when they named the car the Mudboss. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm not going to get rid of my Traxxas stuff. I'm not going to try to say I'm going to boycott them, because I can't, because I do RC dirt oval, and that's between the, like right now we have Mudboss, we have Traxxas Modified, we've got Slash Superstock, and all those are mandatory Traxxas chassis. When I go crawling, I've looked at the other brands, and I'm sure I'm going to upset some people when I say between the Axials and all the other brands that do them, I kind of feel like the TRX4 is probably the best one. It's got a lot of features in it. You've got, I don't like the steering servos attached to the axle. I think it looks terrible. Traxxas sticks it up in the chassis where it looks nice, but the truck still turns well. The suspension is well engineered, the 2-speed transmission, and if you go ahead and get the, not the Sport, but the regular one, right there on your controller you can operate mechanical lockers in the differentials. It's freaking amazing. And then the aftermarket support for those, We're going to be doing some crawling soon, and you'll see mine. I think it's amazing, and what it can do is just out of this world. And it doesn't have a whole lot of mods on it. The main thing is big sticky tires. So anyway, Traxxas isn't going anywhere. I'm not going to boycott them. I just feel like in this particular instance, they practiced some business which was probably very astute, very clever, and very legal, but I think the ethics are kind of lacking in that one. But I deal with all sorts of companies that I think make a good product, but I don't necessarily approve of their ethics, and that's where I'm at with Traxxas right now. All right. So this has all been kind of negative and ugly, but the Traxxas Modified's a cool car, and if you want to get into 6 months ago, if you said, man, I really want to try this RC dirt oval thing, what should I get? I would have recommended finding you a good used Mudboss, knowing that you're going to have to fix some things when you got it, and if somebody's willing to sell it, they haven't been doing the maintenance on it very well, so you'd probably have to change some things, fix some junk up. If somebody asked me today, hey, I really want to get into RC dirt oval, what do I need to get? I'd say go buy you a Traxxas Modified. And I still think it's a great car. Like I say, I'm just kind of miffed about the way they went about doing it. But if you disagree with me, or you say, hey dude, your take on this is completely wrong, then please let me know in the comments. If you think I'm right on, I could use a little reassurance, because I'm about this afraid that Traxxas is going to have lawyers coming after me, even though I'm nobody with like right at 70 subscribers. I am a nobody. But if I get a cease and desist order, I'll put it up and let you guys read it. That'd be kind of cool to get, actually. But anyway, got some cool things coming up. I do have possession of my friend Noel's Creighton 6S Arma. That thing is massive, and it's very broken. So we're going to get to go through and figure out what parts it needs, get those parts ordered and fix it. And we'll be racing again pretty soon, which I'm excited about. And we're going to paint the Triple S, which is coming up pretty soon. And then I don't know what adventures are coming after that, but if you want to see what RC type adventures I'm getting into, then throw me a subscribe and like and hit the little bell for updates, all that good junk. Send me a comment if you'd like to see me, if you have questions about anything. I've been kind of thinking boat. If you'd like to see me get a boat and get that thing up and running and take it out, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to do so. Anyway, that's where we're at now. Come back and catch us next time on RC Restomod.